So if you ask a Christian, well, what is God? Christian would throw out all these glowing praise words. They'd say, oh, he's all powerful, he's all knowing, he's just, he's merciful, he's loving, he's kind, he's eternal, he's always been there, always will be, he's good, he's gracious, he's omnipresent. All these things that a Christian would throw out there. And probably when they first invented this religion, this God, that's what they did. Well, our God's the best God of all. He's everything. He's always been there. He'll always be there. He's eternal. He's forever. He's the king of everything. He's in charge of everything. He's just super wonderful, super faithful, all these things. Now, if I were to write a book and I made a character that were all these things, I would write in such a way to show a character being all these things. A character who knows everything, that's what I would write. He would know everything. All-powerful, my character would be all-powerful. Nothing would deter him or stand in his way. Hear that really annoying noise? That's a cricket. If ever you hear that noise in the background, I have crickets because my lizards aren't eating them. It's very upsetting. Anyway, if I were a writer, that's what I would do. I would write the character as I have made him out to be. That's a good writer. At least that's what I think a good writer should do. But to me, a telltale sign that this God is created by man is not only created by man, but by people who don't write very well, or is the book of Genesis, the early books in the Bible. If you read what this God does, it's like he's just like a human. They write him like he's just this giant human. First, he creates all the angels, and he's all-knowing, but apparently he is caught off guard when Satan, or rather Lucifer, betrays him, turns against him, talks other angels into turning against him. He didn't see that coming. I've had Christians literally tell me, well, he knows everything, but you're still free to make your own decisions. And that includes Satan. So he doesn't know that Satan's going to do this before he does it? It catches him off guard, does he? Does it? Interesting. Just like a person. That's how God is in the first books of the Bible. He's just like a person. He reacts exactly the way a person does in everything. He has all the limitations that a person does in the first books of the Bible. He makes the angels, he fucks up. Lucifer turns against him. He didn't see that coming. He didn't plan for that. That's not part of his divine plan. Everything is according to his divine plan. But that wasn't. He's all powerful, but apparently, yeah. And he's perfect. He's perfect. But he can make things that are not perfect, apparently. Because Satan wouldn't be perfect. If he was perfect, he wouldn't have turned on God. Or maybe he's perfect. Maybe God designed him perfectly for what God wanted him to do, which was to turn on him, which means that God deliberately designed Satan perfectly for his plan, which was that he needed to turn. One Christian said, well, God said when he created all this stuff, it is good. Well, yeah, that doesn't mean he's saying it's perfect. Everything is perfectly made without flaw. He's saying it's perfect according to my divine plan. It's all the way I wanted it to be. So when he says it's good, he's talking about, the fact that Lucifer is a flawed angel that's going to turn on him, and humans are flawed, and they're going to do exactly what he needs them to do. He needs them to be ignorant, totally misinformed, put them in a situation where they're going to trip up and fail. He needs all that to happen. So, of course, it's good. It's all set up. He's got it all set up. It's good. But yeah, so he apparently makes this guy, Lucifer, doesn't know that, it's just totally catches him off guard because he has no control over the decisions that his creations make. So he really is all-knowing, but he's not all-knowing. I've had Christians say, well, God doesn't see the future. He's all-knowing, but he doesn't see the future. Interesting, because, when before Judas leaves the room to go betray Jesus, Jesus looks right at him. Jesus knows ahead of time what Judas is going to do. So I think in the Bible, it does show that this God does see the future and does, it's all part of his plan. Long before Judas was born, the wheels were in motion for him to betray Jesus. And, what a great thing for poor Judas. Did he have any choices in the matter? God knew ahead of time. So it's like they have these contradictions in their book. It's like, well, God doesn't see the future, but he knows everything. But Jesus knew Judas was going to do this before Judas did it. But he doesn't see the future, so he doesn't know everything. It's like, make up your mind. And in Genesis, God's like, does he not know that Satan is in the garden in close proximity to his newborn humans that know absolutely nothing, that are like little ignorant, gullible children? Doesn't he know that Satan's lurking close by? Why doesn't he warn his children? Why doesn't he say, hey, there's this guy here in the garden. He's going to try to trick you. You got to watch out for him. Right now, he's posing as a snake. Why doesn't God warn his children? He's supposed to be loving. He doesn't. He doesn't warn them because he needs them to have this thing happen. He needs original sin to happen. So what does he do? He points out the source, the tree of knowledge. He points that out. And it's very appealing to look at. So he points it out, and it's not far away and hard to get to. It's right in the middle of the garden. Really easy. You can just reach out your hand, and you'll have one of those luscious fruits. He points it out to his guy. Sorry, I still am sick. It's more than 2 weeks. He points this tree out to his gullible, naive children and says, look, don't you touch that though, because that's off limits. And then he turns his back. I'm not watching. I'm not. It's like it's so obviously a setup. It's so obviously a setup. And I don't understand. There's the other cricket. So I've got stereo crickets. It's so annoying. Anyway, Christians don't see this. And then he comes back and he's like, I don't see you. Where are you? Acting like he doesn't know what's just happened. It's just so... he's not even just acting like a human in the book of Genesis. He's acting like a real snotty human. A real, piss poor parent. Ooh, say that 10 times fast. I don't mean to get into a big long video or a big huge thing. It's just like this all over in the Bible. You see these things that Christians try to say, oh no, that's not true. God doesn't know everything. He knows everything, but he doesn't know your decisions before you make them. Yeah, he does. He knows everything. They say that. I say, check out the story of Judas. He doesn't know Judas is going to betray him. Bullshit. He's all powerful, but he... I'm losing my voice. He can't stop Satan. He can't reach down through the atmosphere of the earth and stop Satan because, the earth is Satan's domain. Really? That's an excuse? Who came up with that? Really? He's God. He's like way to 20 million times tougher than Satan. And then there's this big battle of Armageddon at the end that they like to talk about. What kind of battle is this going to be? He's God. He's all powerful. Satan is nothing by comparison. So it would be more like, oh, you know what? I think I'm tired of letting Satan have his way. He's done. What battle? Same with the angels. He's God. With a thought, he can just snuff them out. Battle. That's another thing. A human concept, this whole big idea. Huge war at the end. God and his army comes down and fights Satan and his army. That's such a human concept. God is God. He's all powerful. Angels are nothing to him. Lucifer's nothing but an angel, a fallen angel. All God has to do is just, squish him with his thumb. It doesn't require a fucking war, a fucking army, a fucking battle. That's such a human concept. In the end, there's going to be a big war. Really? No, God's just going to say, you know what? Satan's done what I needed him to do on the earth. He's done. The end. So anyway, I just had thoughts. That's all. I wanted to make a video, and I don't have any voice. I haven't had my coffee, but I just had these thoughts in my head, and it's just like, Christians they come up with all these attributes, and then they dance around the attributes. Oh, he is all these things, but he's not all these things but there's free will. That's right. He's all these things, but there's still free will. And I know this is a little bit off subject, but this has been eating at me too. They attack science for not having enough evidence, and you weren't there in the beginning, so how can you know? It's just a theory. And yet, God's always been there. He's always been there. We don't even have to think about where he came from, because he's just always been there. Everything needs a creator, because complexity can't exist without a creator. Matter can't exist without a creator. Oh, but God doesn't need a creator. That gets so tiring. Anyway, and this also is a little off subject. I'm just trying to throw things together and make a video, because I have a bunch of these fragments in my head. Somebody accused me this morning of being no, not angry, hateful. I'm so hateful. I'm a terrible, hateful person. You're so hateful. You need help. Hateful. It's always funny, and I think this has something to do with the gender too. I notice now that I'm back to posting again, because I don't have the time to make the videos right now. Now that I'm back to posting, I notice that I could post 10 replies on notes under a video, and people will respond, but they won't be responding to what I post. They'll be responding to the posts other people post. They don't respond to me, and I really think there's a gender thing there. I really do. And when I do get a response, it's always a personal one. Oh, you're so angry. Oh, you hate God so much. Oh, you're just a hateful person. Oh, you must just be in such despair. Oh, you're just so anguished. All these kind of responses having to do with me personally, having nothing to do with what I've written. My points that I've made, they don't even, half the time, hate this. I want my voice back. Half the time they don't even address what I've written. They only want to address, oh, you're just so, you're clearly a very miserable, sad person. You need Jesus. It's like, do guys experience that? It seems to me, just from observing, it just seems that guys write to guys differently than they write to women. And when they do write to women, it's always like, oh, you poor, sad, miserable person. You need to get help. They mistake anger for hatred. They mistake contempt for hatred. I feel contempt toward this religion, this cult. I feel anger. I don't hate God. There's no such thing. I don't hate something that doesn't exist. I don't even hate Christianity, because it's why you can't, it's hatred is nothing except poison yourself. That's what I've learned in my life the hard way. Hatred poisons you. It does nothing to hate something, and it does nothing to hold grudges either. I feel contempt. I feel anger. I feel like, you know what, I want to put on some armor and I want to go out and kick some ass. I want to fight this thing because I see it causing harm to my society. When I write posts, I try not to pull punches. I try to say, you know what, this is bullshit. This is vile. This is evil. I say what I think. You know, I don't pussyfoot around. I don't step on eggshells. Because I feel like people stepped on eggshells with me, and that's why it took me so long to pull my head out and realize, oh my God, it's a lie, it's not true. So I don't pussyfoot around. When I write notes, I say what I think. And you know what? If it comes across like I'm angry and I have contempt, good, because that's how I feel. I'm trying to be true and honest about what I think and what I feel. But I don't hate. It's not hatred, and it kind of annoys me when I have, oh, you're just such an evil person. No, I'm not. I get angry. When people write stuff that are just so profoundly untrue, I know it's not even anger at the person so much as anger at the cult that's made this person be this way. So anyway, just things I wanted to clear up, and kind of like a very disjointed video. Nothing, not a particular theme, just me kind of putting things together that I think and slapping it into a video and putting it out there. And trying to, while I have this frog in my throat. I apologize for all the disgusting noises and the crickets. Kind of sounds like a really bad movie film reel, doesn't it? For all of us old enough to remember what film reels are. So if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.